been going on over the last few months. So probably last year I started to get like pains in my hand, in my right hand, and I had like two little lumps on my hand, and I just thought to myself like they were horrible, and so I ignored them for like over a year, and just thought they'd go away. And it was in October last year. I don't know what that was. It was in October last year that I just started to wake up in the middle of the night in pain, and at one stage, like I actually, there was my nights where I'd wake up and I'd be crying in pain, and like I just didn't know what was wrong. And we used to think maybe it was from well, we used to get blamed and thought that it was from texting, and I used to think that maybe geez it was, because I used to text with that hand and I used to overstretch it, but it wasn't that. And anyway, I eventually decided to go to the doctor in December. So I went private in James's, and when I went in, the guy actually looked at the images and he said, look, I'm a bit unsure myself. I need to speak to a colleague of mine, but they look benign. So I thought, okay, great. It's not cancer, so happy days. And then a couple of days later, I got a phone call from my doctor to say that the results were in and that they were benign, and that they would like me to go for an MRI, and that to go for the MRI private as well to speed things up, and then if I needed to get plastic surgery done, that I could go public plastic surgery, and because they were kind of unsure as to exactly what it was, they would probably see me faster. So I went, because they said it wasn't cancerous, I left the MRI later. I didn't bother going until February, but my hand was killing me and it was foolish of me to do that. But I just still didn't want to believe anything else, and anyway, I went for the MRI in February. I went for the MRI in Clane, and in the middle of that then I had got a call off my doctor to say that there was an appointment made for plastic surgery clinic for the 12th of February. So I said okay. So I had only gotten the disc with the images from my MRI from Clane. I didn't get the report. Still to this day my doctor never rang me with the report either, so which is bizarre. So I had the meeting then with my consultant in James's, and she had said that if it was just a matter of peeling the lump off, we would stitch it up, and if not, we would, if it was sitting on a nerve, we'd have to take a nerve out of my leg and put it in, which was fine. That's fair enough, whatever, and she said we can do it next Friday, which would be the 21st of February. So I was delighted with that, because I thought this is great, it's so soon and it's public, so yeah, so I was getting myself prepared and geared up for that. And on the Thursday the 20th, I got a phone call from her to say that someone else had a look at the report from the MRI, and that they weren't convinced, that they really wanted me to come in and get a biopsy done instead of not go ahead with the So I was really, really scared and afraid about the biopsy and that, but obviously I knew I had to get it done. So I went under general anaesthetic on the Friday morning and had the biopsy, and then my wound got infected, so I had to go on antibiotics for that. And then I got a phone call on the Tuesday to say, can you come in on the Wednesday? So I went in on the Wednesday, and I had my brother and my husband with me, and we were just sitting there, and she said, Amy, it's not good, you have cancer. So we all just literally nearly died. Like, we were all shocked, and it really just, I couldn't even hear what was going on around me. I just said to her, look, I don't even know what you're saying to me. So she said that the biopsy, so I had cancer, but they didn't know what type of cancer I had. So they wanted to see, was it melanoma or sarcoma? And I was like, which is better or which is worse? And both are as bad. And the biopsy was gone off to the UK then for further testing to see which cancer it was. So I was to wait for a week, and they wanted to give me all the news in like together in a week. They didn't want to like give it to me in dribs and drabs. So that would have been Wednesday the 11th, I think, of March that I was to hear that. But I got a call on the Wednesday before, the week before, like, because I was a 2-week wait. And she just said to me that they were going to have to, they were going to be delayed in meeting me, but that they had news from their biopsy and that it was clear cell sarcoma, is what I had. I had also had a CT scan done on the rest of my body the day after I had went in, just to find out I had cancer. So the results for that came back as well, and she said that they were clear, so it was localised. So you can imagine I was like, I was bursting with joy, because I was like, wow, this is localised, it's great, it's not anywhere else, and I could calm down a bit, you know. Even though I still had cancer, I still felt that I was lucky that I hadn't gone anywhere else. So it was like really, I felt like I could handle this, like what wasn't, you know, I can do this. It's localised. And then I had a call from a girl out in Kappa to meet with my consultant, and James has wanted me to meet the orthopaedic surgeon in Kappa for his opinion. So like that, I went out on the 12th of March, and my husband came with me, but with the coronavirus, we drove in, and the security guard was like, no, only one person's allowed in. So I said, okay, I'll run in. So I ran in, and I was sitting in the waiting area, and his secretary had come out, and she had said to me, are you on your own? And I said, well, my husband's not allowed in because of the coronavirus, and you know. And she said, so we went out and we got him, and he came in, and again, I thought they were just going to talk to me about, he was probably going to look at the lumps, look at my hand, and then speak to my consultant. But he didn't. He basically told me that the only option was to amputate my hand. So you can imagine, it was a nightmare. It was your worst nightmare to hear. Jesus, I've never heard of anything like it. It's something that you'd see on a horror movie or something, you know. And I couldn't believe I was hearing this. I was shocked. I was so upset, and frightened. And he just said that, like, with the foot on your hand, like, there's not a lot of room for, like, there's not a lot of flesh. We couldn't guarantee that if we took part of it, that there would be particles in the hand and they would travel. The sarcoma that I had, the clear cell sarcoma that I have, it travels to the lungs. So, like, it's a matter of life and death for me that I had to get the amputation. But at the same time, like, there was a team of 6 people that had the opinion, and I was hoping that maybe somebody would have a different opinion on Monday gone. So when I came in, like after we left Kappa, I was like, oh, I need sugar. I was like, let's go to Krispy Kreme's. I was like, give me something. I'm off chocolate for Lent. So I was still trying to, I knew, I was like, I can't eat chocolate, so just get me something. So I just cried, and I just felt so upset and so like, what is life? Like, what the hell? You know? So anyway, I went home and I was upset, and I didn't want to tell anybody, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to tell my friends. I was embarrassed. I was like, how am I going to even, like what am I going to be like? How am I going to survive? What am I going to do? Like, this is awful, like, you know. And I just was in bits, like, for a few days, and I just told my brother, and I just started to think of life like with one hand, and what I was going to be, and how my life was going to change. And you know, it was just, it was dreadful for a few days. And I was hoping that on Monday gone that we would have a different opinion, and we could save my hand. And yeah, like, I really was I was holding on to anything. And when I went in, like, Miss Dempsey, my consultant, said we've all decided that the amputation is the answer. So I had to swallow that, and yeah, I had to take it on board, like, that it's a matter of life and death. And she not only said the news, like, she was like, you're going to have it this week. And I was like, what? So we left the hospital, and I got a phone call to say, you have to come into the hospital tomorrow evening, you'll have a bed, and you'll be having your operation on Wednesday. I had no time to think. I was still in shock. I've been in shock. And then I went to the hospital on Tuesday, and my husband wasn't allowed in with me because of the coronavirus. So I was absolutely devastated. I was standing at the front door crying, and like, how is this possible? Like, I need him. Like, I'm going to have my hand taken off tomorrow, and like, I couldn't make sense of it. So I calmed down anyway, and I went up to the bed, and I was lonely, frightened, and it was just really difficult. There was a woman in the ward that kept walking around and talking to people, so she'd come over to me and she'd say, what's your name, and you know, what are you here for? And you know, so I just shared it with her, because I kind of felt that, well, I've nobody else, you know. So she was really nice, and we just had a bit of a chat and that, and it was nice. And the next day then, I was absolutely petrified. I cried myself to sleep the first night there, and the next morning I was petrified because he couldn't come in again, like. So I cried my eyes the whole way down to the theatre, and it was actually horrific. It was the most frightening experience I've ever had to go through, and lonely as well. Anyway, they told me that I could see him when I came out of theatre, and when I came out of theatre, sure, I was still off my head from the anaesthetic and everything, and then they told me, no, you can't. And I was like, well, I am, like, I have to see him, like. And I was like, well, I'm going down to the front door, like, and so they said that's okay, like, so they got me a wheelchair and everything, and like I settled down after a while because I was, can only imagine, like I was just like all over the place, and I managed to see him for 10 minutes. I was so tired, exhausted, and I was on morphine pump as well, and I got to see him anyway, and it was good, and I had no visitors throughout the whole, but I made some friends in the ward. Lily was one friend. She was in her 80s, and she asked me would I go down and get her Imac for her beard and Nivea cream for her face. So I went with my one hand, and went to the chemist for her and got her a few bits, and yeah, the women were incredible in the ward, and they we all kind of came together, and we had the chats, and all shared our experiences and some of our life stories as well, you know, and it really kept me going while I was there, and I didn't really sleep great the first night, but then the next night I had a really good sleep, and I had myself timed on all the medication and everything, but yeah, so I got out then on Friday. I had to get a PET scan done to make sure it's nowhere else. And they did say they had seen something, a little dot on my lymph node, and that they weren't too sure whether there was anything to worry about. But like that, if there is, they will do radiation and that on it. So the PET scan anyway that I got done, there on Friday before I got out. I'll have the results this week, and I'll know if it's anywhere else or if it's spread. Some people get to bury their hand and have like a burial service for their hand. I didn't. They wanted my hand. They took my hand for testing, for further testing, to see if there was anything else. You know, so I don't mind that, because that's important that they have all the information that they need. So now I'm very fragile and vulnerable at the moment. I'm on a lot of medication at the moment as well, and I'm in a lot of pain. But today I decided to put makeup on, and my husband had to put my hair in a pony. But a messy pony is alright, and I managed to do my makeup and do an alright job with one hand. Yeah, so I suppose I'm on a brand new journey. My whole life has changed now, and I don't know what the future holds. Yeah, it's all going to be new for me. I want to help people, though. I want to be someone that can support people that are going through this. I didn't know anybody who's ever gone through. The first question I asked her was, did anyone else have this done that she knew, like that she work on? So there was a fella who had the same clear cell sarcoma in his hand as me, and he had it removed, and he was in his 50s. So I said, will you get his number for me? I want to talk to him. And they did. They got his number for me, and I rang him on Tuesday before before I went in for my operation, and I had a really good chat with him, and it was so refreshing to talk to somebody else that was in this experience. So I'm all for being there for anyone else that has to go through anything like this, because it's a really, really scary journey. I've no doubt that I'm going to have some really challenging times and lots of sad times, but I'll have a lot of happy times too, and lots of firsts. Like the first morning after the operation, I had to butter me toast with my left hand, and I'm right-handed, you see. And that was really a challenge because I had to open the butter with my mouth and my hand, and then I had to try and scrape the butter from onto the knife, like, and then try and scrape it onto the bread. And I cried because it was my first time to have to do that, and there's going to be lots of first times that I'm going to have to do things. But I'm not dead, and I can still do most everything. I might just be a little bit slower, but it's just going to take me a bit more time. And I'm really determined, and I really want to make sure that I have the support and the strength to get through the rest of my life, I suppose. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and to talk and to say a little bit, well, to let everybody know where I was coming from and what actually happened. I know a lot of people are going to be shocked about the amputation because it wasn't something that I wanted to share originally, but I just feel that it's definitely, why should I be ashamed of it? Why should I hide from it? I need to embrace it, and I need to move forward in my life. So I'm gonna try and look for the positive side of this, and I haven't looked. I know the journey, looking at the wound and all, is going to be very difficult, and that, but that's down the line, and my focus now is to heal, because I am in pain, and I just, when the pain is gone, I just want to get back to normal, and just get back to normal, and do physio and get me strength, and we'll go from there. But I know this is probably the longest video you ever had to read or watch, but if you got to the end of it, fair play to you. And I suppose I'm going to capture my journey from here on in, and if you like to follow me and support this journey, you're more than welcome. And so thanks a million for watching, and I hope you all have a blessed week. Thank you.